We all want to become successful, right? So, how do we do that? How do we become successful? I have a book in my hand titled Mastery, and it is by the best selling author of 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene. And as I've been reading through this book, I believe that mastery is one of the few things that we need to become successful and to become the hyper successful person that all of us dream of being. And again, again, you might ask, how do I become successful and how do I achieve that level of success? Well, it's through mastery. And let me give you an example of mastery. So we have a pianist and they want to learn how to play the piano. They have to learn how the chords and the keys and the pedals interconnect with each other and become one. The pianist then has to become one with the piano so the piano can be an extension of him. It has to embody the piano in a way. It has to extend its consciousness onto the piano because the only way that the pianist can achieve such great skill on the piano is through mastery. If the pianist wasn't a great pianist, then he is just an apprentice to the piano. And that's somewhere where you don't want to be because that means that you are a slave to time. And masters of their craft, they lose all concept of time. So, regardless of how long it takes the pianist to become great at that craft, he has lost all concept of time. And you need to do the same thing in order to obtain mastery in whatever skill or craft that you are doing. Let me give an example of me. I have these certificates hung up on the wall, and they say certified funded trader. And I have seen a lot of success within this space, which within a very short period of time. And I'm not saying that is consistent across this space, but when I first started, I lost all concept of time. I did not care how long this skill would take me. I did not care how many failures I would have to go through because failure is purely mental. Or I didn't care if there was a risk attached because risk is only a social construct put on society to limit you from doing what you want to do. There's no such thing as risk. If risk were a thing, you run a risk every day of being alive. So back to what I'm saying. I had to lose every concept of time and become one with the charts and one with the skill of trading. And I had to basically extend my consciousness onto my psychology. And it's just you become one with everything. So everything that I'm doing, I'm becoming one with everything around me. Everything has a connected consciousness. If you look around and see the design of the world we live in, it is all connected by one consciousness, one divine creator. And God is that divine creator, and you have that same power within you yourself. So if you can connect the consciousness of the skill that you are doing to yourself, and that skill is an extension of you, you have obtained mastery. And it's a hard place to get to, but once you get to it, everything becomes second nature. It becomes intuition. And we have all been given that power of intuition. We may not have it all the time. It's a very fleeting feeling. But once you obtain mastery, that intuition and instinct is constant. It's never ending. It's never going to fleet you because you have obtained the skill of mastery. And if you think back to 6 million years ago, correct? And you see how humans have, if you want to say evolved, to now. That just shows you how powerful the human brain is. It is the most valuable tool that every human has in his or her toolbox. It is able to create things, everything around you. Everything that you see around you, everything that you see behind me was created by a human brain. That idea had to conceptualize in the brain and then it had to be brought into the physical realm. But how did that person do that? They had to become a master of that craft. If you think about Steve Jobs with Apple, he had to become a master of his craft and technology and become one with technology to then introduce us the iPhone. It's the same thing with Leonardo da Vinci. He had to become a master of the paintbrush in order to show the beautiful work of art that you guys see in his artwork. And it's the same thing with whatever you're doing. I've been reading a book in Genesis in the Bible, and it says be, do, do. So what that means is if you become that hyper successful person, if you already conceptualize that in your brain, that you are a hyper successful person and you have adopted those habits, your subconscious mind will then go into a kind of involuntary action. You'll start to do those things of a hyper successful person. You won't have to think about it. Remember, it becomes a intuition or instinct. And once you get to that point, you have obtained mastery. So what you need to do, you need to lose all concept of time and whatever skill or craft that you are going after or you are embarking on. You need to lose all concept of time and just try and understand the complexities and the intrinsicness of every single detail. Because once you do that, you have obtained mastery and it will become second nature. It will be an extension of you. And you'll start to attract the things of the being that you want to be. Remember, the law of attraction is simply you, whatever you attract is a representation of your state of being. So if I am doing the things of a hyper successful person, then my state of being is a hyper successful person. I will then start to attract the externalities of a hyper successful person. And that's the same thing with whatever you're doing. If you constantly tell yourself that you're a hyper successful person or you're a happy person, it'll then start to materialize within your physical realm. And the more time you spend in that desired emotion, you become a master or you have obtained mastery of that feeling. And it will never fleet you because you have obtained mastery. It becomes second nature. So if you are still on the conceptualization of time and you focus so much on time, you have become a slave to time and you are an apprentice. And I believe that is why a lot of people are stuck in the cycle of working a regular job. There is nothing wrong with that, but that's why I feel like people are stuck in that job because they are still an apprentice. An apprentice works for someone, but your brain was meant to create. So if you can tap into that gift that was given to all of us to obtain mastery, just imagine what your life will look like. So what you need to do, again, sit down with whatever craft or skill or just journey that you are on and try to understand it for what it is. Try to obtain the mastery of it. Because once you do that, it will be an extension of you and you will start to see all of the things that you ever wanted attract in your life because remember, it's an extension of you and whatever you see in the physical realm is just purely a mirror or a representation of your state of being.